All right. I think I got everything set up on the system side. Well, hey, what's going on, y'all? So, this is the first episode of Tick Syndicate. For context, I trade futures, mostly E-mini S&P futures with some treasuries thrown in, as well as the metals, so copper, silver, gold. And just wanted to kind of start a weekly series where I go through my weekly prep, what levels I'm watching for the upcoming week, any news that's coming up, and then I'll start incorporating like a retrospective at the end of the week to kind of document my evolution as a futures trader. Don't have a course to sell, sorry. I mostly for ES I mostly trade Nadro. Same with the metals. If you're not familiar with Nadro, highly recommend checking out Apteros Trading. There's a course from Merritt Black, who owns Apteros Trading. If you want to learn the levels that I'm watching, learn how to do what I do, highly recommend that course. I'm not here to kind of rehash what Apteros is doing, what Merritt teaches. This is largely just a trading log to document my evolution as a trader. So let me go ahead and let me start sharing my screen. Just to Let's first start by taking a look at any relevant news of moderate to high impact in the upcoming week. So today's Sunday, December 7th. Globex just opened about 3 hours ago. So I've got trading economics, a lot of different economic calendars out there that you can use. I just happen to use trading economics. I have filtered for US country, as well as 2 and 3 star impact. There we go. 2 and 3 star impact. Actually, I can't select both, so I'm just going to do the high impact. Uh, so tomorrow we have a treasury auction. I saw that on the moderate impact, and we also have ADP employment changes, jolts. This is going to be big for treasuries. I, yeah, actually, that's low impact. So 3 month, 6 month, and 3 year note auctions. I'm going to be watching that on the treasury front. I don't really trade the shorter duration treasuries. I mostly trade ZN, ZB, and ultras. So I'll be watching this on the treasury front, but let's skip over to the high impact news that may impact ES. So Tuesday, we've got jolts coming out. This will probably be important. We might see some movement there after this, and then the big one is Wednesday's Fed interest rate decision and FOMC economic projections, and then notoriously the Fed press conference afterwards. In the previous Fed conference, we saw a massive sell-off that we've just now finally almost fully recovered from. Market's making a slow grind back up to all-time highs. So I expect some movement, certainly, at this Fed press conference. I don't actively trade the news unless an opportunity presents itself, but I don't have any hard and fast rules against not trading while someone's talking from the Fed, but I will be watching this. Additionally, Thursday, we've got PPI month over month. And that's kind of the high impact pieces that I'll be keeping an eye on this week. Now let's switch over to the chart. So before anyone asks, I use Motive Wave. I like it. I trade from a Mac. I don't like messing around with parallels that often. I have a separate machine that runs Windows. Uh, that's for my Jigsaw trader. That's where I'm trading treasuries. But let's take a look at what price action has looked like in Motive Wave for the E-mini futures on ES. So kind of in a slow grind upwards. We're almost up back around previous all-time highs of 69.54 thereabouts. And we've been seeing a lot of two-way back and forth over the last 2 weeks. So I think 2 weeks ago, primary driver of that was the Thanksgiving holiday in the US coming up. And then this last week, I think the primary driver of that was just largely apprehension ahead of the Fed meeting this week. So this is a weekly chart. We're kind of bracketing here, forming a range on a weekly levels. Let's switch over to the daily and you'll be able to see a little bit more of what I was talking about with that slow grind. Oh yeah, let me turn extended on. So yeah, the daily, we've haven't really had any dominance from either side once we reached above, I'd say these like 6650 levels. We've kind of just been bracketing here. Uh, so th that's evident on the daily chart here. We saw sellers take control, buyers took back control, and we're now at the top of that range where the previous all-time high is waiting for us here around to 69.54. Areas, not lines, as Merritt Black likes to say. Um, that's generally what I'm looking at here. So at the weekly and daily levels, that previous all-time high is largely what I'm looking at. I might add that range low, but I'm not going to lean too heavily on that just because I don't draw my levels based off of pure higher time frame price action. All right, so let's take another look at TPOs. So I trade a lot of I used to only trade off of TPOs, so largely just mean reverting off of value area highs and value area lows. If you're not familiar with market profile or TPOs, I'll throw up another quick video, or you could just YouTube it. There's tons of great resources on YouTube around market profile and how other traders use it. Um, but this is kind of just another way of organizing information. Market profile on its own is not a strategy. It's just a way of organizing information and understanding where market participants are understanding value and when price starts moving away from value, watching the overflow and how price responds to attempts to take price away from value. So this is Friday's session here. We saw an attempt here to break higher, and we ended up closing basically unchanged. The green triangle here is where we open, red triangle is where we close. I do have this set to only show RTH hours, so you're not seeing any Globex. I'll go into that in a future video, but these are going to be the primary reference points I'll be leaning on in the next week. So we had a multi-day composite area that I've merged here. I went ahead and just merged this. I'm going to be leaning pretty heavily on that 6851, and if that gets broken, we're going to be leaning pretty heavily on that 6826. Um, those are going to be my primary reference points I'll be watching. I will potentially also be watching order flow at the value area highs and lows of the next. This is a composite also, but this is a single day TPO. So that's going to be the main structures I'll be leaning on for this week. And then we have some slightly older uh, value areas here from all-time highs. So we've got a composite up here, a single day profile here, and a large composite. I think this was a 5-day balance area. It's a 5-day composite. I will also be watching for seller activity at 69.01, which is that value area high of this less fresh or stale composite value area. Up here, up ahead, we've got 6913 and 6944 at the value area for the all-time high. I think that's a 2 or 3 day composite. I can't remember. But yeah, this is largely where I'll be looking for my intraday reference points where I'll be initiating a trade. Now, let's take a look into my weekly prep chart. So this is I keep this up in a separate monitor because this kind of brings the higher time frame stuff that I do uh, from a NADRO perspective and brings it all together with those TPO reference points. So these colored bars that you're seeing from red and green, that's what you're seeing on the screen. Those are coming from higher time frames. Those are sell zones and buy zones that I'm watching. That doesn't mean as soon as price hits that, I'm just gonna, if it's green, I'm looking to buy. If it's red, I'm looking to sell. That's not what I'm doing here. These are just reference points from a higher time frame. It gives me an indication of like, okay, how extended are we? And I'm looking for initiative behavior from one side of the market, whether it's buyers or sellers. If we fall into one of these green higher time frame zones and buyers are limp right there, could be an opportunity to be looking for shorts if that level doesn't hold. These are not like binary areas where it's okay, touch the green, buy, touch the red, sell. Not that at all. I can't stress that enough. Um, The dotted blue lines I've got here, those are single day TPO levels. So that represents a value area high, value area low. White dashes, that represents value area highs and value area lows from composite structures that I'm leaning on. So this is kind of my map for the day. This monthly, weekly reference buy zone, there's some overlap here. I could anticipate some chop. Uh, Down here, but I will be looking at this largely as a potential area that needs to hold elsewhere. Otherwise, we may end up, we don't really have any higher time frame areas to lean on until down here at the 65 or 6650s. We've got a bunch of neutral areas on TPOs that you can kind of take quick trades off of. But basically, if this area right here on that monthly, weekly reference fails, where buyers are in trouble. So we're going to want to see buyers be able to hold price and continue to probe higher as we explore value. And then I've got the previous all-time high marked up here. And then uh, I haven't added those older structures, but this is an annual based or yearly based sell zone I have up here. Don't really have a ton of reference areas up above because I do anticipate some initiative and defensive behavior around this entire block. But I'll probably add them as reference, as blue dotted lines here, uh, after I wrap the video, just so I have them there in case buyers are able to rip straight through sellers' faces and we're making an attempt at the previous all-time high ahead of the Fed meeting. Do I think that's likely? Probably not. I think we won't really see uh, a true momentum change until after the Fed minutes coming on Wednesday. But yeah, this is kind of my roadmap for the week. Got a lot of nice, strong, higher time frame structures as well as intraday reference points that I can lean on for trades uh, Monday and Tuesday. And then we've got a couple areas that we're going to be a little precautionary around. Um, Extending beyond that. But largely, I kind of see a range continuation like we've seen in the last 2 weeks between these two areas here down at 6830s and the 690s or 6900s. So that's largely what I'm watching. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want to see. Largely, this channel for me to document my own evolution as a trader, but if anyone's watching, let me know how I can be helpful. All right. I'll see you. Best of luck.